Say hi. Hey guys, it's been a while since I posted a video. I have a lot of things I'd like to talk about, but I've just been pretty busy. Next week is Rhema's first birthday. So I wanted to talk about her birth experience because it was literally the scariest experience I've ever had. It's something I wanted to talk about, but I had a hard time talking about it because it was really traumatic for me and it would make me feel really sad. But I think I'm getting over that now. It doesn't make me feel as sad anymore. Now it's just accepting the lessons. If you guys watched my other testimony videos, you know about my spinal fluid leak when I had my third daughter. That experience made me never want an epidural again, and ultimately I ended up not doing hospital births anymore after that either, after a lot of things that I had learned afterwards. So when I had my son, baby number 4, I had him at home in my bathtub. It was just me and my husband. It was completely unsupervised by any medical staff. We just had him home alone. And it was the most peaceful, amazing birth I ever had. And I wanted to have that when I found out that I was going to have Miss Rhema here. That was the plan, but she had other plans. God had other plans. That's funny. That's funny. My pregnancy with her was very average. It was a stressful time because my husband was in between jobs, so there was a lot of tension regarding that. Ignore my screaming children. I swore that I was going to be patient about when I had her, but I wasn't. When you get to the end of your pregnancy, you're in so much pain that you just get kind of impatient. And sometimes I beat myself up for that and feel like maybe this experience happened because of that. During my pregnancy, people prayed for me, prayed for a safe delivery. I prayed for a safe delivery. There is one time when Pastor Mark prayed for us and he prayed over the baby. And then that night, someone in our group came and he played the saxophone to my stomach, and he played one of my favorite songs that I sing like every single day. This is the song. Jesus, lover of my soul. Jesus, I will never let you go. You've taken me from the miry clay. He had no idea that I sing that song every day, and that's what he played to my belly that night. It was really perfect because it fit the whole experience, so that really spoke to me. So the night I went into labor, my husband called his family. My mom was there, my daughters were there, his mom was there, his nephew was there. Everybody was there. I set up the pool in my living room and I was trying to make it all cute and aesthetic. Something that I now look back at as just kind of a waste of energy, waste of focus. At the beginning of the labor, I prayed for God's protection during this delivery. And although things went the way they did, I feel like God did protect me. High five. Oh. Silly. I did not know that Rhema was breech. I could have sworn she was head down, but she was not. I still feel kind of sad about the whole experience because it was my very best labor I ever had. It was only about 3 hours long, and I had really mastered my breathing and just really working with my body and praying through everything I was going through, and it made the labor amazing. So I'm at the point where my body is ready to push the baby out, and my husband says he wants to feel the baby. I told him I didn't feel like it was necessary, but I'm happy that he just did what he wanted to do anyway, because when he did, he told me that he could feel feet. So then I feel, and yes, there are little toes. And at this point, I'm freaking out. Everyone's freaking out. Everyone's crying and freaking out. So in that moment, we didn't think about just delivering her breech. It was just an instant decision to call an ambulance. So that's what we did. I had to get up and walk outside and get on the stretcher that they couldn't get through our door while I'm going through these intense contractions, and I can feel the baby coming out of my body. I have little feet coming out. And we get in the ambulance, and my mind is just racing. Like, are we going to deliver the baby like this? Am I going to have a C-section? Are they going to try to flip the baby around? What's going to happen? I've never done any of this before. So they're just telling me to try not to push the baby out all the way to the hospital, which is like physically impossible. If you really understand birth, your body will push the baby out without you trying. All the way from my house to the hospital, I'm bawling my eyes out and praying to God out loud. I don't care who hears me. I don't care if anyone thinks I'm crazy. I am praying my heart out, and I'm begging God to just get me through this. I'm repenting for all the things that I know that I've done that have been displeasing to God. I'm repenting for feeling anger and resentment towards my husband for things that he's done. Just everything I could think of. And I'm telling God, I don't know why I would come this far just to lose my baby. But if it's your will to take her, I'm not going to live in bitterness, and I'm going to keep praising you. By the time we get to the hospital, they're trying to check for a pulse on her feet, and they're not finding one. And she has a prolapsed umbilical cord. If a baby has a prolapsed umbilical cord, the umbilical cord starts dying from the oxygen hitting it, and then the baby is no longer getting anything, so the baby can die from that. They can't find her pulse on her foot, so then they get the heart monitor and they listen on my stomach for her heartbeat, and they're not finding it, and I'm just like dying, freaking out on the inside. And then suddenly they found it, and they're rushing me through the hospital, and they told like all the hospital staff what was going on. Like, oh, there's this lady coming in with a breech baby, and everybody working there wanted to come see. So while they're running me down the hallway, both sides of the hallway are just completely full of people who came to watch. at that point I didn't even care. And I asked them what they were gonna do, and they said they're gonna have to give me a C-section. And I said, I don't care what you do, as long as the baby's okay. And I was in so much pain that while they were trying to get my clothes off, I remember telling them they could just cut them off, just cut off my clothes. But they just ripped my clothes off of me. And any woman who knows what it's like to be at the very final stage of her labor, imagine people lifting you up and moving you from one place to another and ripping your clothes off and asking you to do things that you physically feel like you can't do, but you're pushing through it as hard as you can because you don't want to lose your baby. I was in so much pain during this process that I was just grabbing people. There was people all around me, and I remember like grabbing somebody's thigh or their butt or something and just, and I didn't even care. Now when I look back, I'm like, sorry to whoever's butt I grabbed. That's funny. But I was so unfamiliar with C-sections, especially emergency C-sections. It's not the same as one being planned, but they strapped me down to where I couldn't move. And they told me they were going to put me to sleep, which was like a relief, but at the same time, I thought, what if I'm one of those people who feels everything, even though I'm asleep? So I prayed that that wouldn't happen. And I remember just waiting to fall asleep, hoping it would happen fast. And then that was it. That's the last thing I remember. When I woke up, I just remember having like a vision of going through clouds. And the first thing I thought of was I was with God. And then like as I opened my eyes, I could see my husband's face literally right here. He was waiting for me to wake up. And he told me that we had a little girl, which was so exciting to me. He had a feeling since the beginning of our pregnancy that it was going to be a girl. I wasn't totally sure, but I was leaning towards girl, so I was really excited to have a little girl with him. I was in so much pain when I woke up because I couldn't have any pain medicine while I was asleep. My teeth were literally chattering. Like, I could feel my teeth hitting each other, and I was in pain all the way up to my collarbone. I was told that my body was pretty much treated like a rag doll to get the baby out. So I couldn't stand up straight. I couldn't walk. And I was like that for months, to where I was just in pain all the way up to my collarbone. It hurt to breathe. It still makes me feel really sad that for the first 24 hours I couldn't be with Rhema at all. She was in NICU. I couldn't feed her. Yeah, baby. I could only see pictures and videos and FaceTime my husband. I couldn't actually hold my baby. And that felt heartbreaking, just laying there, unable to move and see my baby. When I did finally get to see her, I just bawled my eyes out. The whole experience just still seems kind of unreal and mind-blowing to me. It was extremely scary. My husband thought I was gonna die. He thought me and the baby were gonna die. I thought the baby was gonna die. I really kicked myself in the butt for a long time after this and blamed myself. Like, maybe it's because of my resentment I had while I was pregnant. Maybe it was my impatience. Maybe it was the vanity of the birth and the pride of feeling like I didn't need anybody else to help me. I trusted God, but I still had this pride of feeling like not needing any help, which I totally believe in free birth and home birth. When I talked about it in a birth group I was in, and I talked about how I felt like it was a lesson for me, there were some women who thought that I was crazy for thinking that, like, why would God teach you through something like this? But while I was praying in the ambulance, I was saying to God, whatever happens, let it be to your glory. And I feel like even if the birth didn't go how I wanted it to go, God protected me. Even though I went through that scary experience, God still protected me. And I thought many times, maybe I should have just went ahead and had her breach at home. But what if I did do that and she did pass away because of her prolapsed cord? There's a lot of what ifs, but I choose to just trust that God protected us, because obviously here she is. Here she is. Healthy. Happy. Yes, here she is. And my husband just instantly had the instinct to call an ambulance instead of continuing with the birth. So it's one of those mysteries. It's what ifs. But I just trust God. I think it's just another moment where I had to trust God. And God used that to deepen my faith, regardless of how it looks to the rest of the world or anybody who feels like they know it all. It doesn't really matter to me now what anybody thinks about it. If anybody... When we were in the hospital, there were a lot of nurses there who tried to make us feel bad, tried to make us feel dumb for having a home birth. There's people on Facebook who talk bad about people who have hospital births. It goes both ways. Either way, you're gonna have people judging what you do, but in the moment of a crisis, you just do the best you can think to do in that crazy moment. So ultimately, it just deepened my faith more. And I'm thankful that it happened, because it was another opportunity for me to just lean into God. And in that moment where I was feeling completely crushed, I chose to not turn my back against God and to blame God and to be bitter if things didn't go my way. That's another one of my stories where God was there for me and built up my faith through a crazy situation. If you guys have any stories like that where God built your faith through something scary or traumatic, feel free to link it below, because I love hearing people's testimonies. I love you guys, and God bless you.